it's so good to see them back again. We have past President Margaret Heron, Secretary Treasurer and Financial Guru of the STS, and his wife.
First of all, I would like to commend and congratulate the Tisdale Chapter of Superannuated Teachers of Saskatchewan on the occasion of their 30th anniversary. Commend and acknowledge those people who began this chapter, and we have them seated at this front, 10 years of chapter activities, chapter social functions, and meetings to pass along information to your members. Congratulations, that is a very, very wonderful occasion. And how very fitting that you celebrate 30 years on the occasion of over 10,040 members in our 43 chapters.
Let me add my words of congratulations to the chapter on your 30th anniversary, and special congratulations to the founding members who are being recognized here today. Very close to my heart in many ways. I started with the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation as an executive assistant in 1982.
The current membership in the Tisdale Chapter of the Superannuated Teachers of Saskatchewan is 101. I'm certain that this number was never imagined by those 18 members who met on February 16, 1983 to form the Tisdale Chapter. I will read the names of these founding members 1983 to form the Tisdale Chapter. I will read the names of these founding members or knew them can bring their images into our minds. Lillian Abramson, Genevieve Arnold, Christine Bowerman, to respond by resolution or other written submission to proposed actions of government affecting education or seniors' welfare.
Perched on a high, windy hilltop, or maybe the flat, dusty plain, I remember the small country schoolhouse that stood in the snow and the rain. It had no remarkable beauty. Its walls were sturdy and sound, but it served the youth of the prairies.
Normal school in Saskatchewan. I began my teaching career in 1944-45. It was a one-room country school, 25 some pupils, grades 1 to 9. And we worked hard in the classroom and played hard on the outdoors. Note that. Wonderful year. Someday I'm going to ask Bob if he remembers the time I walked up to him in the classroom. He and a boy were fighting. And I said, Bob, you weren't fighting, were you? He looked up at me and said, yes, I was. But over the years, I taught in 1, 2, 3, and rural schools, country schools. Archewell, Sylvania, McKay. And at Franklin, my mom and dad will add my name to that list. Over the years, and then, my later years were spent on the Kinnison Reserve at Chagness. It was the beginning of the kindergarten, and these little people were non-English, but they did learn more English than I learned Soto. Of course, was the thing we went by, and with fun games, music, tools and aids, and common sense, we made up just fine. But in 1981, at a gala retirement party, it ended my teaching career. And Gordon, my husband, said that being married to a school teacher for some 65 years was well worth the effort.
So here we are, dear friends. I will be thinking of you on your happy day together. My career path was to teach little kids. I do not begrudge one day of it. I have so many enjoyable memories. I must tell you one of my favorites. I was teaching grades 1 to 4 in a 2-room school in Brooksby. My room was having a ball game at noon. A little boy in grade 1 had never hit a ball and was getting discouraged. We told him to keep trying and he would hit the ball. And one day he did. Everyone hollered, "Run!" Well, he ran. Past the pitcher, past the second base, past the fielder, and on the end of the school grounds while everyone was doubled up laughing. I got a grade 4 boy to get him on his bike and bring him back. When the little fellow got back, he jumped off the bike and said, "Mrs. Parkey, did I make a home run?" We all agreed there had never been a home run quite like that one. And the game was a tough.
She was 16 when she went to normal school, and after she had been at the school for 4 months, the, director, principal, came to her and said, "We need you out in the field. You can go out and teach at this school." And when she got there, she was presented with her teaching certificate.
1 year preparation for teaching at Saskatoon Normal School in 1939-40. I obtained a position of teaching in a rural school called Chatsworth. It was in the Saltwoods area. Our farmers were in that area, moved to Tisdale later on. There were 28 students, grades 1 to 8. And I was also the superintendent of 6 students and helped them with their correspondence courses in grade 9 and 10. I didn't have a clue how to teach 8 grades at once and keep order and assign work and in general be a guidance teacher to all these little faces looking at me. But after a few days, I realized that I had to think back to when I was going to school. We had a very, very good teacher, S.H. Chatsworth, in a year at Meadowvale. I met and married the love of my life and retired. And when we couldn't find a teacher, it was wartime, and we lived 12 miles from town. I filled in at in our school while our children, we had 2 daughters. And in the meantime, I went to work at Valparaiso and taught there for 3 years. Then I went to public school, Tisdale Public School, for 20 years, and set up libraries, and I don't know, they've never discovered what to do about monotones. And I didn't either, until I suddenly thought of an idea. I said, "Eric, I need somebody to turn the pages for me while I play the piano. If you were very careful, I know you wouldn't make a mess of it, so would you look after the pages for me?" Oh, well, sure, he was really flattered about that. And he agreed, and we went on with it. And but the trouble was, the words were bigger, better to see. And he went on turning pages, singing louder all the time. I was lucky I could really stop him. And the adjudicator commented on what lovely tone we had. One day when I had been teaching at Valparaiso, I found out leaving even, but I soon embraced retired life. In fact, I remember saying, "I think everyone should retire." So that was the end of my career. That's all. Thank you so much.
I really don't know where to start, and I hope I know when to finish. Looking back, sitting here, I was doing a little arithmetic, counting my public school, my teaching. I spent over 50 years in a classroom. And when you look back at it, you shake your head. I don't know how to explain why I became a teacher, but I found out that's what I was born to be. And I've never regretted a moment I've spent in there. Some days I had to go home and pound a nail in a post down in the basement to know what I'd accomplished, but anyway, I did something that was when I was at Landswood. I had 40-some students, 7 grades. It was a Catholic school. They started out as Northwest Territories number 5. I had 6 Marys and 7 Annas, or 7 Annas and 6 Marys, I can't remember. And I'd be teaching, and after a while, you know, the tone of the room got up, and I'd say, Anna Mary, be quiet. Instant silence. It worked for about 3 or 4 days, and then I'd use it again, but it always worked. They were a nice bunch of kids. When I look at the school education system today, you kind of got to wonder. We have down to 5 schools, 5 towns, with schools from the 80-some that were here when I started teaching here in Elderslie. I don't know just exactly how to say this, but when we were teaching, the student was the be-all and the end-all of my career, in the sense that I was there not because I was principal and important, but because I wouldn't have been there if they weren't there. And I think in some cases, the idea that the student is the most important thing in an education system. It's not the government finances, it's not the school boards, this and that. It's that we have to give everything we can to those students. And if we don't do that, I think we've failed. And when I look at this situation in Ontario with the public school teachers and in other places, you've got to wonder. You can't put more kids in a classroom. You can't put more hours in the curriculum if you don't give the teachers the time to spend this time with the students that need it. Lots of them don't need us. It's true. But there's always some that we are going to make or break them. And we've got to have the time to do it. I'm glad I taught in what I call the golden age, because the kids that come in, they take their hat off, they sit down. If they ask you, out. No trouble. It was wonderful. The teachers I taught with were wonderful. Bob here. It was a wonderful life. And what else can I say? We've all been there. We've all done that. And unfortunately, like MacArthur said, like old soldiers never die, they just fade away. And old teachers, they just fade away. Thank you very much.